Hi, I'm Julie Johnson. I'm the Executive Director of the Hitchcock Center for the Environment. We're a nonprofit environmental education center with what is now a 55-year history. And the whole focus of our programs, our mission, is just to create greater understanding and awareness of our environment, to create that emotional bond and connection to our natural world, and to really develop a heightened awareness of the importance of healthy soil, healthy air, and healthy water. So we began planning to build our brand new environmental education center a number of years ago. We were looking at a lot of different ways to build it. How could we amplify our mission and be a leader as an environmental education center? We looked at LEED certification as being the premier sort of green building at the time. We were going to go for LEED Platinum, but then we learned about the Living Building Challenge and that certification program and became instantly excited about the approach and the framework and the philosophies of it and how deeply they thought about sustainability and its performance standards, net zero energy, net zero water. We instantly decided that is it. We're going to be the first environmental education center in New England to achieve the Living Building Challenge. And it just served as this rich platform for developing new educational programs to educate around sustainability. And the Living Building Challenge with its net zero water systems became this tremendous opportunity to elevate that conversation.
To be able to bring students to a building that's showing solutions of how we can conserve water in operation, that they take part in using a composting toilet that doesn't use fresh water, they're drinking water off the roof, acting like a watershed. That piece is so important.
The actual architectural shape was developed to capture the right amount of rainwater for the use of the project, and all of the water gets funneled to the ecotone, which is where we're standing now. Formally, architecturally, and technically, we've funneled all of the water necessary for the use by the Hitchcock Center into this space. The first level of filtration and the removal of impurities happens here and is all very exposed and part of the narrative of the building. And then as a way to bring that back to the larger narrative of the natural system that inspired it, we have this really beautiful installation of stained concrete that really allows the people who visit the space to see where they exist within the natural environment and then how that inspired the building's watershed.
The goals that must be met in order to achieve certification in the Living Building Challenge fall into 7 different categories of petals. Each of these petals contain highly specific requirements, except for one, the beauty petal. Left intentionally open-ended by the Living Future Institute, the beauty petal acknowledges the importance of inspiration and sense of wonder. As artists, we're really excited to participate in the Living Building Challenge in this way, helping visitors establish a connection to their surroundings and to the world at large.
Sam Batchelor from designLAB first contacted us about the Hitchcock Center for the Environment back in 2014. At that point, we entered into a dialogue with designLAB and with the team at the center to develop an idea for a map on a floor, looking at old maps, old paintings, road maps. We started to put together a wish list of information that we would want to bring to this map painting on the floor. We started with information that was on the center's webpage, where it says, education is a critical ingredient to developing a community that understands the interconnections among the health of people, ecosystems, and economics. Well, that was a wonderful directive for us. We start most of our projects by developing watercolors, taking all the items that are in the wish list and bringing them together as interconnections between disparate information, trying to pull together a cohesive whole image. At first, we had so much information it was difficult to distill that into that comprehensive whole that we were looking for. It was Julie Johnson, Executive Director at the Center, that gave us our final visual mandate. The final installation should be a beautiful, richly depicted somewhat topographic rendering of the river and the watershed with blues, greens, and browns mixed with the river spilling out into the crossover and visitor center. Taking that information, what I decided that I wanted to do as an artist was to create the essence of that land depicted with paint to create a topography. I wanted that river to literally flow through the space, creating a connector between the two larger areas and speaking the dialogue that was established by the water collection systems there in the ecotone. On top of that, we had to learn an entirely new material, working with Prosoco and Prosoco materials to define and illustrate all of the watercolors that we've developed over time. I wanted there to be an in-the-moment expression, a painterly expression. And as I was working on the painting, I began to develop a concept of a kid floating over the watershed in a hot air balloon. Because I felt like in order to follow Julie's visual mandate, to echo the goals of the center, we needed that kind of experience. We created the world's cutest wayfinding system, a series of animal tracks, deer and coyote, that led from the classrooms down a hallway to the bathrooms. There was a tour that came through the day after we finished one set of tracks, and I was told that a child asked, "Was there a coyote in here?" And I thought, yeah, that's the level of interaction and authentic experience that we hope to bring to this project.
The primary missions of the Living Building Challenge and Prosoco's core business overlap really nicely. Since its beginnings, Prosoco's been engaged in helping to create, maintain, restore buildings that are designed to last for centuries. The exciting thing about the Hitchcock project is seeing just how far we've come in the last decade. We value every single project and every single owner that chooses to put building materials health, occupant health and safety, the occupant experience front and center, and reduce the impacts on the environment.
This is a high-performance building program, really unlike any other. We're collecting our drinking water off the roof. Zero net waste, everything's treated on site. And this building is built with non-toxic materials. As you look around, you'll see that there's a lot of rough work showing, the stuff you usually don't see in a building, because we do not have any extraneous finishes. The rough work is the finished work. For me personally, as a builder, I've been working towards really this kind of zenith for 30-odd years. Always interested in energy conservation, sustainable building practices and materials. And the living building truly is the most high-performance building in the built environment.
For a lot of the building users, they would only come for short periods of time, so it's important to really explain to them how to best engage within their built environment in a thoughtful way. When you first come into the building, you see this wall that has all the principles outlined, and then from there it's a matter of discovering them within the building and throughout the building, and it's really an opportunity to look at the building and look at the pedagogy and find a way for those to synthesize in a meaningful way.
I was talking to Carl Weber at the Kern Center next door, and he said, LBC is the measure of what we do, but it isn't the reason we do it. It's a way to track success, it's a way to hold everyone accountable, but the motivation has more to do with education and changing minds and progressing the industry. There was something really important for us about making sure that this was an environmental education center first and a living building challenge project second. And these exhibits are our way of making sure that education remains the priority. A key part of sustainability is having something that is loved, that is appreciated, that is enjoyed, and that creates something sustainable. That creates, cultural or social sustainability, and the integration of art and the integration of beauty are all things that are critical to that.